Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Yes. Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main B bus undervolt.
Roger, main B undervolt. Okay, stand by, 13. We're looking at it.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
Hey, Sooner Nation. That pretty much says it all right there. I would like to come on here and say, man, just a blowout walk in the park game, just like we expected. I'd like to come on here and say everything's going to be okay, but not sure. I'm not sure we can say that. So
Right.
welcome for another Champion Standard podcast. Please like, subscribe. Mention a couple of our sponsors before we jump in here. Woodworks Distillery. Please go try them. If you haven't yet, you're missing out. So go try them up on the north side, up on North Britain. David, right? David Woods.
David's. Yep. David. And
Yep.
David.
Him and his staff do a great job. And if you can't go up there to get your Woodworks Distillery, where do you go, Rob?
I go to 90s Liquor.
Yep.
And go say hi to Zach. And yeah, they've got a great selection. It's right there next to Rudy's. So Mondays, when you're feeling like the drinking can't stop because of what you saw on Saturday, you can swing by to 90s Liquor, go to the coach's show and pound the table and listen, and then go get yourself a drink.
Yeah. So, gosh. So we survived. Just like Brent said. Just like Brent said after the game, we didn't deserve to win. You know, squeaked one out by 4 points to a below average rebuilding Houston team.
Yep.
Just really no excuse for it.
No.
Ugly win.
It just looked like obviously the players came out flat, and then they just sort of stayed flat, or at least on the offense side of the ball. And you know, I don't know. There's a lot that we can start diving into, man. You tell me where we're going, and I got plenty I can say.
No, it's all over the place, really. And granted, I'm not going to start making excuses now, but just, you know, we continue to miss three of our top four receivers are out still.
Yep.
You know, our offensive line's banged up, so it's just kind of a patchwork offensive line. Jackson Arnold, sophomore quarterback. You know, we came into the season and, you know, felt really good with that receiver room.
Oh yeah, we talked about it for three straight weeks.
We did a special podcast. We had 2 podcasts on the receiver room, all just for them.
I think it was 3.
Maybe 3.
It was 3 weeks. I called it a wide receiver series.
Yeah.
Like I that's how much we love the receivers, because the myriad of route trees and skills and heights and lengths, and to come into Temple and you lost JG, you had Farouk for like 3 plays, and after that, you know, Andrew Anthony's. I mean, I said during that pod series that we're gonna have to give him time. Like he's not gonna start the season just run. And he got some time in the third quarter with Temple, but then he was a healthy scratch. Most likely, he's not going to be ready for Tennessee. So you've got a receiving group now with Burks and a bunch of young guys and what's not great about this Houston game is that only 3 receivers got targets. Right. Kearney and Petaway got in, but they didn't even get a target. Like they didn't even give him a chance. And that's where, as far as the receiving group, I mean, you've got Burks, you know what he can do. Don't get me started on what they're doing with Burks, because I'll go for like 20 minutes. But yes, that receiving room, we started high and starting the season now, and it's definitely one of the weakest productive groups on this team now.
Yeah. And so that we entered the season, that was going to be, you know, one of our strengths that we were going to hang our hat on, is that room. And then, you know, most everybody, just like us, we had two question marks. It was offensive line and it was Jackson Arnold's development.
Mm-hmm.
And those were, the two big question marks, and they were question marks. Well, now they're concerns,
Right.
like just red flag concerns. I don't know how else you put it. There's just, lack of execution. And when that wide receiver room took a step back, heck, would it even matter right now if we had yes, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We would get some production out there, and Jackson's probably got a little more trust in some of those, seasoned guys, but there's no rhythm to the offense. There's just out of sync, whether it's
Everybody was
all over the
yeah,
place.
everybody was taking turns making a mistake.
Yep.
It was somebody new every single time,
Yeah.
including the play caller, starting the game off with a jet sweep. Like, we need to just toss that away. If I see another jet sweep, I am gonna lose my mind, man. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't want to see. He ran it again in the third quarter, and he got a holding penalty. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's a failed play. Toss it away. If it's a failed play, toss it away. Find something new.
Well,
And
are you tossing away the playbook right now then, or
I've been going back and forth.
you know what I mean? If it's a
Well,
failed play,
there's no, you mentioned like no consistency. Usually
Mhm.
even bad teams have a bread and butter set of plays. Like, these are the things that we're going to be good at. Like, we're going to be good at this. We'll have forward progression with the ball. Somehow, even if it's a 0 gain or a 1 yard gain or a 2 yard gain, we can lean on these 8 plays. This is our identity. It is XYZ. For Riley and his run game, it was the GT counter and the halfback counter, and they ran it to death. With, the last 2 games, we're seeing the jet sweeps, we're seeing the split zone, we're seeing the inside zone. We're even seeing some like toss sweeps, which is all great if you're doing all these myriad of runs, but you're not good at any of them. They're
Mhm.
all it like one time it'll work and the other time it won't. This time, well, let's try this and it doesn't work. And let's come back to it. Oh, it worked. Maybe it'll work again, and then it doesn't. I mean, it's like completely random and sporadic. They need to find what works, the 5 to 8 plays that can just say, this is us. This is who we are. This is
Mm.
our offense. This is
Yeah.
how we're going to move the ball. And I don't know if it's because they've got a lot of backup players that on the O line, and there, like you said, there's been shuffling, and even though on the O line in the last game, only 6 guys got in, like EPL and Heath Ozida didn't get a chance to even play. So they must feel good about those 6. They must feel really good about those 6 guys. And those are the 6 that are going to go forward. If you're going into your second game, or sorry, going into your third game, and EPL and Heath Ozida have got like a combined snap total of 18, like they must not be ready. So we have our 6 currently, and they're just, it's just inconsistent. They have
Yeah.
they have no bread and butter plays. 0.
And I think those guys would have gotten more run had the game went differently. We're up 3 scores. I think you get some more EPL and some of those guys if we're up by several scores and the game's in hand, and Beatonbow and Luttrell or whatever. So there's this
I don't think
game's
we have that luxury.
we
That's a luxury.
don't
It's a
anymore.
luxury to be up 3
It
scores
is.
and be in the driver's seat to winning a game. But we
Yeah.
won't have that luxury. So
Mm-mm.
you have to,
Not anymore.
in the third quarter, I was like, why are we like, I'm just, we were in this battle. Third quarter, you go into halftime, you say, hey, young guys, young receivers, young O line, these are the plays we want you to run. EPL, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you a chance. Get out there. You put your first team back in the third quarter. When it doesn't work again, then you can say, okay, I'm going to start getting these young guys something. I have to, as a play caller and as a coach, don't you want to see it with your eyes on the field when the lights are on, what a kid can do, instead of just assuming that he can't do it in a practice field? Sometimes kids do good on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know if you don't actually put them out there. And I saw EPL and Heath Ozida in the last game do pretty good. They
Yeah.
weren't fantastic, but EPL was dude. He was wanting to hurt people, not hurt people, but he was wanting to bury people. Like, you could see it the way that his hips were exploding into people. So I Yeah, I was disappointed that in the third quarter we were not getting younger guys genuine snaps like Petaway and Kearney. They didn't get a genuine. They might have gotten on the field. I don't think Kearney did, but Petaway did. Didn't look his way once. Didn't
Mhm.
try to scheme him open. Didn't want to try to give him a screen and see what he can do in space. Nothing. Like just wanted to keep throwing it to Brendan Thompson down the sideline when he dropped. We couldn't get it to him. So
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
was one part about it,
No,
about the
I'm with
game.
you. And one bright spot this game, he didn't get a whole lot of run the first game. Jake Roberts made a couple of big plays, and he's probably Bauer Sharp's the better receiving tight end, but
Sure.
Jake Roberts is probably the better overall tight end just from
Yeah.
blocking and getting in the flat and running and stuff. But yeah, Sharp, I feel like Sharp, the way his blocking is, man, our receiver deep so thin. I almost would like to kick him
Right.
out and let him play
Yeah.
receiver a little bit.
He's our second best receiver right now. He
So
is. So you might as well
yeah,
just split them out
let him
and then
out
you
there.
could have them both on the field. You could
Sure.
have Bauer and Jake
Hmm.
on they were doing it. So just have him be the number 2 receiver.
Yeah,
Just have him. Yeah. You could easily put Dion at the X. He did it
that's
all
what I'm
last year
saying.
at
Yeah.
Pirtle. He could be outside and you could have
So
Bauer inside.
yeah, if we get Anderson back and Anderson Burks, and then if you have to run Sharp in there with those two guys, fine. I don't care
Yeah.
until Anthony's
Yeah.
100%. That's better
That's not
than
bad.
running running a true freshman out there against Tennessee. In a
Oof,
couple of weeks. I'm just yeah,
sure.
uh, and I still think I'm not ready to give up necessarily on JJ Hester either. He's just got a nice frame to be able to, you know, some of those jump balls and things like that. I think he would still be good for things like that. But
His
running,
con is concentration drops. I mean, he's just concentration drop, the
yeah,
slant, and then ball tracking over his shoulder. But there's got to be, give him more time. Maybe he can do something.
yeah. Uh, you know, Bates played a pretty good game, and I don't know what he was thinking there at the end of the game, taking his helmet off, getting
Yeah.
a penalty, and just giving them an opportunity to have a few snaps. You can't do that.
Nope.
Uh, so that's kind of a, you know, rookie mistake that he probably won't make the rest of the year because I'm sure he was running a little bit this
Oh,
weekend.
oh yeah.
Um, Running backs, we're only 2 games in. Gosh, I think Barnes has been our best running back so far,
I
and
I love how aggressive he
yeah,
is to the line, man. He might be wrong, but when he's wrong, he is trying. He's missed. I going back and watching it. He missed some opportunities, but when he gets the rock in his hands, he is getting north and south in a hurry.
yep,
And so I mentioned on the Football Brainiacs that like maybe we need to, instead of running the zone where, when you run zone, there's multiple places the hole can be, right? That was the whole point of zone, is that you rely on your running back to read it. And there's a lot of sync one-on-one blocks. There's maybe like one combo block, but like the whole point is the running back has an opportunity to to let the line play, it's obviously a great scheme. Every team in the country runs it, but a simple gap scheme is you get your biggest, strongest offensive lineman displaced. That's one gap. It's one gap. There's not many. There's not a bunch. It's not wide zone, mid zone, inside zone. It's one gap. So you tell the running back like Javante, who is so aggressive to the line, we're running trap. We're trapping the three tech. You're going through the V gap and you go. And then who's it on? It's on the offense, the either offensive line, to move that three tech out of the way. That's it. That's as simple as it can be. Just north and south in a hurry. Hit that hole, one hole, stop reading anything. No running back dances, no one-on-one blocks for the O line. It's just combo blocks and north and south in a hurry. Go.
yeah. No, he does. He runs hard, and you're right. He zigs when he should have zagged a few times, but I'm not worried about that first couple of games. He'll figure that part out, I think, a little bit. But yeah, Gavin Sawchuk's just been kind of just haven't seen him, break anything of significance the first 2 games when you would expect him to.
Yeah, he's having a down start to the year for sure.
Yeah, Tatum runs hard as well. He's just still learning. He's learning the system, um, and he's got to be able to block, or his playing time will get cut into uh, significantly. So yeah, we've kind of touched on every position but QB. He's got a little, very inconsistent day. Got happy feet,
Oh, of
quick to,
course.
locks in on his receivers all the time. Is that a product of the line's not holding up, so he doesn't get to his second and third progression very quickly, or he's just a guy? This is the play that's called. This guy should be open, so I'm going to stare him down the entire play.
I man, there was a few plays, there was a few snaps where he had a decent pocket. Was it clean? Not necessarily, but it was a pocket. Like he could have stepped into it and let it rip and throw. And there was a one play with Jake Roberts, and he was coming across the middle of the field, and they were running zone, and he sat there right there in the middle of the zone, right in front of him. And as soon as Jake Roberts came open 10 yards in front of him, nobody was pressuring. Jackson Arnold literally turned and started running the opposite direction, and then made this big scramble play for like 3 yards. But if he had just waited and believed that his line had the pocket, he could have stepped into it and had an easy first down completion. It seems it's 2 games in, but you and I have both looked at it. There are easy plays that he's missing.
Mm-hmm.
The there was that play that we looked at last video where he decided, like you mentioned, locking on a receiver. He locked on Burks and he threw the ball high and outside, which was the hardest throw you can make. When if he just waited a split second, he had Ivan Carry-On wide open in the middle of the field for an easy touchdown. And like there's those little mistakes that is obviously when you don't have a run game and you don't have these receivers that can push the vertical element of the field, these defenses are compressing and cutting
Mm-hmm.
the field in half, and then he's making those little mistakes. It's making for this offense to be very, very below average.
Yeah, it's stagnant for sure, and it makes it very easy. Makes it a lot easier on the defense. He's no safeties getting looked off or anything like that. None of that's happening.
No.
That
Yeah.
was supposed to be one of our cakes. Just show up, win by 30, turn the page. Now we got a Tulane team, which I know we'll have a preview on them, later this week, that gave Kansas State a great game and almost beat. Somehow Vegas has us favored by 14.5 this week.
I have no idea.
And I'm
man.
like, okay. And I did hear something a little while ago. 97% of the money right now in Vegas has went to Tulane this week.
Wow.
Yeah. So I told you the line was 14.5. Give it about 3 days. It'll be down to like 11 or something with all that money moving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm expecting I'm expecting a real genuine fight to the end. And we can't be missing field goals. We can't be potentially muffing punts. We had was it Bowen that nearly muffed a punt?
Both
We had
of
a
them were
missed field
driving me
goal.
crazy, man.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's going to be one
Yeah.
of those games where any
I
of
know.
that, you miss a field goal, we might lose.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the theme for the rest of the year. You miss
Yep.
field goals, you may lose.
It's the small things like you talked about, a muff punt, a missed field goal, or whatever. Our punter has been, fortunately consistently good. He's doing a good job this year.
Yeah, Elzinga.
I hope we're not both
I don't
wrong.
really pay
That would be
attention to
terrible.
punters
Yeah.
and kickers unless they do something bad.
But yeah, Bowen, I don't know, Bowen or Bowman. I don't know if either one of them made me feel good about their ability to field a punt.
Why are we putting safeties back there for punt
I don't
returns?
know.
I mean,
We
I feel like
lost Freeman and Stoops, and they were kind of our go-to when it came to punt returns, right?
why can't Burks do it?
I don't know. Somebody
Are they
surely,
afraid to get him hurt or something?
maybe. That muff punt gave us that short field. We had a 10 or
Yeah,
15-yard drive. Gosh, without that,
yeah, game's over. Like we lost.
yes, yeah,
Like we
wow,
lost that game if we don't
yeah.
get that in the beginning of the game. That's how close I think the rest of the season's going to be, or it's not going to be close, and we're going to be on the very, very bad end of it if they don't get something going on the offense.
Like you said a few minutes ago, just something with an identity, able to move the chains. If we can just move the chains and get down in the red zone, that's all we're really asking for the
Right.
rest of the season. We're not asking to score 40 plus points a game.
Well,
That's
they need to get better on early downs. The
Mhm.
early downs is killing them. Like their first and second down
Yeah.
is absolutely murdering their drives. So like here's quick stats. So
Yep.
first down average yards of gain is 4.1 yards, which is dead last in the SEC.
Mm.
Second down, 54% of our second down plays are -5 to 2 yards. And we have 5 sacks on second down.
Ugh,
And on third down, we're averaging 8.8 yards gained. Or sorry, we're averaging 8 yards a third down distance,
jeez.
or 65% of our third downs are 3rd and 7 or longer. We
Yeesh.
only have 2 third downs that are under 5 yards. And I listened to Seth Luttrell, and he's like, "Well, we need to get better on third down. We need to get better on third down." I'm like, "Yeah, you need to do better on first and second
Yeah.
down to
Yeah.
get more third and manageable." Then because
Right. Right.
you can't have 65% of your third downs, 3rd and 7, and expect to convert half of those. Like it's impossible. Like this isn't the 2008 OU team or that Oregon Duck team that could just get in 3rd and 14 and convert. Like we don't have that type of offense, and we shouldn't expect that. So he needs to get better on first and second down. He's got to stop running jet sweeps on first down, but like the first and second down is where you have to get 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Then the whole playbook's open. 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, play could break down. Arnold could easily scramble for that. He could scramble for a 3rd and 2 if he had to, but the 3rd and longs are killing us. 5 out of 26 on the year on third down, and yeah, it's just they have to do better on first and second. Have to.
Yeah. And, the only thing I can really compare it to is that's somewhat similar is Michigan. Michigan lost their coach. They lost their starting quarterback. They lost a big part of their offense. And that's similar to what we lost. We lost a offensive coordinator, which didn't Harbaugh call the plays?
I don't know.
I don't know. So we lost an offense coordinator, starting quarterback, a lot of our offensive personnel. So it's very similar situation. And you saw how that worked out for them this past weekend.
True. Yeah.
They only scored 12 points at home against a good Texas team. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, they went from national champions to barely being able to score double digits at home. So
Yeah.
it's not, it happens. Let's say nothing changes. Let's say there's not big improvement. Honestly, it's going to be hard to win 6 games.
With that schedule, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say
It'll be hard to
5.
win next Saturday.
Yeah.
Or this coming
So
Saturday.
it'll be hard to win 6 games. You got Maine down the road, whatever, that'll get us 3, but it's just going to be hard to get to 6 games if this offense doesn't take I think it needs to take a giant leap forward. I'm not saying, this week it needs to take some really big increments of improvement soon. There's no more, oh, we got a few weeks. Yeah, we already had that. That's over.
Yeah. I think another something that we haven't really talked about, and I know there was like a hot topic in the last few days, or at least through last week, was the RPO game. And like the RPOs being slow developing, not working, misreads, etc. One of the things that I've, just looking back on the game tape, a lot of all the RPO reads, like the overhangs, like the outside backers that he's reading are 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. Like when you start, the veer and shoot and some of those other offenses, they spread those guys out. They're more like 8-9 yards from the box. So I kind of get some of the RPO dislike, because you've got all these defenders that are in the box. And if you notice, when he does his little RPO read, it has to be quick, because that linebacker's either crashing, and he has to get rid of the ball so quick. And I feel like, I don't know if that's like I'm not too in tune on like the pro style spread that Seth Luttrell is from. I'm more from the veer and shoot. That's where I like to live. But if you're trying to do an RPO read of a player that's like right there, like he's like he's 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. He can declare. He doesn't have to. Sorry, he doesn't have to declare when Arnold is sitting there holding the ball in the mesh point of the running back. He doesn't have to. He could just sit there, because he could come crashing down on the B gap or on the D gap and get there if it's the run. And if you're not really threatening over the top and there's nothing pushing him back, then he could just sit there. So there's no point.
Yeah.
Like that's one part of the offense where I'm kind of like, I'm not sure why we're not trying, and that might be because we're missing Nick Anderson and some of the speed on the outside to push those guys back. But the reason why the RPO game works in some of these other systems is because those overhangs are so far. Like they have to move. They have to declare at the snap of the ball, am I a run fit or am I out of the run fit? Very easily. When a player is 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, because you've condensed everything down, they can sit there and take their time and wait for you to tell them what to do.
Right.
So that's one part of the scheme issue with Luttrell. I don't understand why we're doing that, but I do like RPOs when they're used in the other manner.
Right. Yeah, and man, I was looking at message boards Saturday night after the game. I was seeing fire Luttrell, fire Venables.
That's a little bit much.
Where? Going just different mess. Everybody wants to fire everybody. And Michael Hawkins. Let's bring in Michael Hawkins.
I like Mike Hawkins. I like him, but
I'm fine. You really just need. I would like to have Arnold have his full weaponry, so to speak, for a couple of weeks.
Me too. Yep.
Before we start having that Michael Hawkins conversation.
Sure.
I think there's, some packages for Hawkins right now.
Yeah.
Maybe some wildcat or whatever, some goal line. He brings that extra dimension. So I'm not saying that, but to talk about him to supplant Arnold as a starting quarterback right now is a little bit silly.
It's silly because if you start Mike Hawkins, you can kiss Jackson Arnold goodbye.
Yeah.
So it'd be really, really silly and dumb to do it so early when you haven't seen the offense's ceiling yet, offensive ceiling. So be patient and give the team a little bit of grace and wait to see if we can get some guys healthy. Let's get 8 games in, and then we'll see if we can where this team is heading.
Yeah, I would like to have, most of the guys healthy by the start of, by the Tennessee and Auburn game. So they're all healthy. We've played 2 SEC games. Then you can start to see, okay, what's the problem now that we have all of our players back? And then, if you want to be critical of the trail, then if you want to be extra critical of Arnold, then fine. But I just want there to be, I don't know, just a little more. We just need guys healthy and patience, I think is the word right now, but we're not going to have much patience if we throw out another stinker on Saturday. You want to,
I agree.
Shall we shift over to the defense and give them a little bit of love and a little bit of critique? Yeah. So I think we've probably beat up on the offense enough. this week. Still holding out hope, that they can turn things around there. So, yeah, let's move over to the other side of the ball. Held Houston to 12 points. Defense, they had that one busted play, let that guy running wide open. Other than that, they played pretty sound most of the night. They gave up some plays. Houston's got a few more players than Temple did, of course, but yeah, and a couple of big plays. Halton made that play there at the end of the game, which is just great to see. He's made a couple of plays now these first couple of games. He's kind of flashed a little more than, I don't know. I guess I expected to see Dominic making some plays, and Halton and Jaden, I feel like, have kind of overshadowed maybe even him a little bit. And then RSJ made a nice interception there. That was kind of a big play to get a little momentum back on our side. I was trying to think. That was the two big. We just had the one interception. Do we have a fumble recovery too, or just an interception? I guess it would have been the muff punt.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought they played pretty sound. It looked a little uninspired compared to that first week. That first game going out, you always have a little more energy. There's nothing like that first game, and maybe they were feeling kind of good about themselves this week. But yeah, just that uninspired tone of the game may have spilled over on the defensive side of the ball too. Just kind of weird how it worked out.
Yeah.
But I know you got some footage on RSJ, don't you?
Yeah, we can take a look at that. So I like to have like a favorite play of the week type, because I like to really get into the X's and O's. So this is the fourth quarter. We're up 2 points. It's 3rd and 16. I just thought this was kind of a cool play because, well, one, I got a shot of the entire field, which is always nice. Thank you, TV. But I thought this was kind of an interesting little play. We're running a lot of cover 3 zone and cover 2 zone, pure drop zone. And this is a play where Houston's in a 3-by-1 set here, and they're trying to move down the field to keep this drive alive so that they can get some momentum and take the lead. So we're just gonna watch it here, and we'll get into the Skycam version. RSJ just does a great feel for it. But what we got here, Houston is running a little flat to try to bait, and then a deep curl, and then you've got a fade, and then this is the receiver that they're targeting, this furthest inside third receiver. He's running this post, but because of the coverage, he ends up sitting. So what OU is doing here is they've got a press bail, soft press bail, and then they've got hook defender that's running a cough technique where he's going to curl over flat. He's going to skip the flat, cover the curl, so that these two can basically, it looks like a bracket almost. And what's cool about this is that this is Kobe McKenzie sitting here. He's actually going to drop and be the third deep cover player. So this corner's going deep. This corner's playing deep. And then our two safeties. So Ali is mixing up the different looks with the safeties. He's moving them around. He's having them pack the hash. He's having them ride the rail. He's adding them. He's moving them around quite a bit because these guys are really good. So in every third, cover 3 is you've got 2 hook players. And what's going to happen at the snap is both these safeties are going to drop into what they call the strong and weak hook here. And so you've also got a blitz here, and then you've got the other flat defender. from the defensive end. So you got 2 flat defenders, you've got 2 hook players, and you got 3 guys playing the deep third of the zone, the deep third. And it's pretty neat because um, as this plays out, you're going to end up having this receiver run right into both the safeties, and the linebacker is going to be on top of them. Whoop.
Nice. Yeah.
Easy, man. Easy. But that was the first time I saw it out of both the 2 games. I mean, this isn't like I would say like a special thing. I mean, pretty much most teams have it, but it was just the timing of it, being that it was something that hadn't haven't been shown. But what I've seen is they are really moving those safeties around quite a bit, which is a good thing. But there's literally, when it comes to safety play, there's really not any technique or movement that the 2 guys, or actually out of the 3, Bowman, and RSJ can't do, which gives them a lot of freedom to where they send help, where's the leverage at, disguises, all those different things, and all the different looks that you can give a team. So that was one of my favorite plays.
Yeah, no, that was great. Great instinctual play by RSJ, and he's came in and made a couple of great tackles too in the last couple of weeks. You like it, call him just he didn't missile. I think is like
Yes,
yeah. No, he is
man. When
that.
he comes downhill into that alley, man, he's gonna lay the wood on you.
Yeah, another guy. I feel like Kip's just all over the place, man. That guy's got a motor. I like watching him play.
Oh yeah,
He's probably gonna get out of position a few times just because he likes to. Once he goes, he goes.
yeah.
But no, they played pretty sound. Anybody else? I know Jacoby Johnson got a little bit of run.
Yeah.
Gentry. I don't know if he's maybe he.
Something's not right with his shoulder, man.
I know.
Something's not right. Something's not right with his shoulder. I don't think he's good, man. That didn't look good. He looks like he's really working. He's in some pain, at least from my eyes. I'm not
Did
an
he play?
insider,
Did he
no
play?
any injury news or
Yeah.
anything, but yeah, he was on the field.
Okay.
He got on the field. He like fell to the ground, hit it, and ended up hitting that shoulder, and it just didn't look like he was ready to go. So,
Hmm.
and yeah, our corners are definitely going to be tested here in a couple of weeks. So I'm hoping that he gets healthy, but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
He didn't look too good
It was good to see
injury
Woody in
wise.
there between Woody, Dolby, Des Malone, Jacoby Johnson, and I'm forgetting someone.
Connie Walker.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like we got quite a few good coverage guys. Yeah, Dolby made a couple of good plays. That guy, he's just a good play. There's a half dozen. It feels like every game where he just shows up.
Yeah,
And then we can't go without mentioning Stutzman. I think he had 15 tackles.
doesn't
Something.
surprise me. Yeah,
Yeah, he was
he was
all
all
over
over
the
the
place.
place.
He is
All over the place.
yeah. But no, I really like. We knew this coming in. Our backers and our back end, look great. Other than that one busted coverage, and then our interior line has been as good as I would say as good as we thought that they were going to be, and it's just that D end room is that one that's just
Ugh.
inconsistent, or there's just not a lot of.
So what I've seen, and I posted on TFV about it, is they're either being asked to collapse down on the B gap and run, so they don't really get a chance to work up field. So, and then 2, we're running a lot of replacement pressures. Like on that play there, that third down play, we had Trace Ford kick out to the flat. So like RMT was lined up as a corner in this last game. He was out there as a corner. Now I speculated on TFB, but like our edge play is essentially 3 things: collapse the B gap and run defense. On replacement pressures, you're going to be either the low hole or the flat defender. And then 3, if you're the opposite defensive end on these replacement pressures, running these pressure downs on third down, they're running contain. So they really don't have an opportunity to work a pass rush plan. And one of the things about defensive ends is that they have to have reps to go up against these tackles and get in a rhythm themselves and understand, okay, this tackle's got really long arms. Yeah, coach told me to. I'm going to need to do a double swipe. Or this tackle's got really slow feet. I can just blow right by him. But they won't know that. They won't learn that if you're not asking them to attack. And if you're not asking them to attack, then they're not going to get TFLs. They're not going to get sacks. And in my opinion, I think the mentality of this defense can be summarized to spill and kill. We want to get crash the gaps and then get all the play action to the outside. We want to funnel it to our backers and to our safeties from depth. That's what our defense is, spill and kill. We want to have the backers and the safeties and to make the plays, and so we're going to collapse the B gap. And you can easily watch it. You can watch Ethan. Just watch Ethan Downs. Just watch what he does the whole time. Just focus in on him. Run play action, he's following it and he's crashing it down even though play goes, or he's taking on a block and he's allowing the linebacker to come in and make the play. So I just don't think they're allowing, like, the scheme wise, allowing the DNs to attack. And sometimes there are plays where they're like, hey, this is the play to go and attack. And I find that's kind of hard to do as a player when you're being asked to do these myriad of things and I don't get a chance to actually build my rush plan through the game.
Right.
You know, Von Miller, right? I just think Von Miller, one of my favorite pass rushers of all. I know he's an Aggie, but in NFL, you would never ask him to drop into the flat. You're never going to ask him to drop. And he is rushing every single play. The best defensive ends are rushing every single play. And yeah, they might get stonewalled for 2 quarters. But when they start figuring it out, when they start learning what the offense is, how they're blocking them, they get to work and they make plays. And I just feel like the players at DN don't really get a lot of chances to build a pass rush plan through the game.
Yeah. And maybe that's one of those things, we always talk about, you hear it on both sides of the ball, which not on offense right now, but yeah, they're holding a little bit back. Well, that's one of those things, in my opinion, that they could be holding a little bit back. You slowly introduce, the pass rush into the game plan, and then, hopefully it's peaking here in a couple of weeks when that Nico guy's running around. Hopefully we can get to him a little bit. But one thing I will say, just kind of a PSA, the conference games are starting here in a few weeks. We got we have 4 home conference games, or is that right? Or just 3?
3.
South Carolina, Tennessee, and
Bama.
Please, if you are a ticket holder, do not sell your tickets to someone that you don't know is an OU fan. So if you turn them back in, transfer them back into the free market, there's a high likelihood some opposing team's going to scarf them up. I don't want to show up for the Tennessee game here in 2 weeks, and there's 15,000, plaid orange fans in the stadium. I just don't. That is not.
They're singing Rocky Top and Norman.
Oh my God, no, I can't. And you're going to hear about it,
of course,
the day after. I don't. Blue Bloods, we ought to occupy, 90% of the stadium. So don't sell to try to make money just because you fear this team isn't very good. You got an opportunity to make money. Don't do it. Don't do it. Appreciate you listening in. We'll have a Tulane preview later this week. Take a look at them a little bit. So until next time, Boomer Sooner.